You're watching the lesson on dividing mixed fractions and numbers. In this lesson, we'll be talking about how to divide mixed fractions and divide whole numbers. So, in the previous lesson, we talked about multiplying mixed fractions and numbers. Now we're going to talk about dividing them. So if you look at the first slide, you may be able to figure out what we're doing in this lesson. So we have 3 over 4 divided by 2 over 3. Well, we're saying that this is the same, it's equal to 3 over 4 times 3 over 2. So take a look at this and see what is happening in this equation to show us how to divide fractions. And you probably have picked it up already if you're watching carefully, but if not, we're going to walk through this. So, how do we divide fractions by whole numbers? So we have 1 over 3 divided by 4. Well, in this case, and if you watched the previous lesson, all you had to do was just go 4 times 3 gave us 1 over 3 divided by 4. You just multiply the denominator by the whole number. Now, the reason why this worked was 1 over 3 divided by 4, well, I can turn it into a fraction, right? Which is the same as saying 4 over 1, right? Any whole number is a fraction. 7, 8, 3. Well, you can turn them into a fraction by just putting them over 1, putting them over 1, putting them over 1. And the reason why multiplying the denominators work for dividing them is that you find the reciprocal of the second number and multiply instead. So in this case, we have 1 over 3 divided by 4. Well, 4 as a whole number is 4 over 1. So the reciprocal would be 1 over 4. A reciprocal is flipping the number, right? So if I have 4, and that's the same as saying 4 over 1, the reciprocal of 4 is 1 over 4. Flipping this number here and flipping this number there. That's what a reciprocal is, flipping the fraction. Don't flip the first one, flip the second number. The second number. Okay? So what you do is you find the reciprocal and multiply the second number. Now, the shortcut I showed you was, instead of doing it this long way, you just take the whole number and you go times 3, times the bottoms, and you go 1 over 12, right? The shortcut would be this, right? But this is the mathematical reasoning behind it. Okay, well, how do we divide different fractions? Well, you do the same thing. You find the reciprocal of the second fraction and multiply it by the first. Right? So here we have 24, right, over 32 divided by 4 over 7. Well, we find the reciprocal. And as we mentioned before, the reciprocal is a flipped fraction. So 4 over 7, well, the flipped fraction, the reciprocal is 7 over 4. We flipped it. Right? We took this, put this up, took this, put this down. And instead, we multiply. And so this is what we're doing instead. So what is a reciprocal? A reciprocal is when you flip a fraction, where the numerator is now the denominator. So 13 over 20, the reciprocal, I shouldn't say that it's equal, I should say the reciprocal is 20 over 13. So you have 13 over 20, the reciprocal becomes 20 over 13. I just flipped it. So how do we solve 24 over 32 divided by 4 over 7? On the previous slide we saw we find the reciprocal and we multiply it by the first number. So this is our first number. We find the reciprocal of the second and multiply through. Just like that. Right? We end up with 168 over 128. Well, some of you may have noticed, well, we're not done, right? If 168 is too big, 128 is too small. We need to make this a mixed number. This is an improper fraction, and we don't want that as our answer. So we're not done. So how many 128s fit into 168? That's how we fix this improper fraction. So in our previous lesson, we reviewed that, right? You find how much the denominator fits into the top. It fits into it one time. And whatever's left, 40, is our new numerator. Well, that's great and all, but we still have steps to do. We still can simplify our fraction. So 40 over 128 is the same as saying 5 over 16. So our actual answer becomes 1 5 over 16 because I simplified this fraction. So try these questions on your own. The quick shortcut to solve these is keep the first fraction, don't touch it, don't look at it funny, leave it alone, change this into multiply, and then flip the second number. So in this case we go keep, right, change, flip. Keep, change, flip, right? Keep this one, change this to multiply, flip this one. Keep this one, change this to multiply, flip this one. Keep this one, change this to multiply, flip this one. So try these questions on your own and see if you can solve it. Dividing mixed numbers. So when you divide by mixed numbers, again, it's not that much different. You just have to turn them into improper fractions. Basically, it's an extra step. And if you paid attention to our previous lesson, I showed you how to turn mixed numbers into improper fractions. And all you got to do is go, oh, that's my denominator, multiply it by the whole number, add it to the top. 6 times 4 plus 1, 25, right? Denominator is 3 times 2, that's the whole number, plus 2. 3 times 2 plus 2, right? Now I have 25 over 6 divided by 3 over 8. And then all I got to do, keep, change, change, right? Now find the reciprocal. 8 over 3, the reciprocal is 3 over 8. So I keep, I changed, I flipped. Right? Keep, change, flip. Keep the first, change the symbol, flip the second fraction. 25 times 3 is 75. 6 times 8 is 48. So now I have 75 over 48, which then I can now turn into a mixed number. How many 48s fit into 75? Well, 1 does. Whatever's left is 27. So I have 27 over 48. And I realize, oh, I can divide both numbers, so I can turn it into 9 over 16. So the correct answer will become 9 over 16 because I can simplify this. I can divide this by 3, right? And I can divide this by 3. 27 divided by 3 is 9. 48 divided by 3 is 16. So I simplified the fraction. Try these questions. Now, the thing is about this is that it's not hard, right? Keep, change, change. Keep, change, flip. Not a hard concept to know. But a lot of times students will flip the first number, not change the symbol, right? So this ensures that you practice. Again, I really want to hammer in, you need to make the mixed numbers if you have an improper fraction at the end, and you need to simplify your fractions if you can at the end. Don't mix them up, don't change anything until you need to at the end. So practice these questions and see you next lesson.